Yep, that's all we could do. All we could do was, beat the boss of the game, destroy the evil corporation trying to destroy the planet, kill Genova, and make sure Sephiroth couldn't prevent Holy from stopping Meteor. That's all. Not a whole lot, just, a little bit. Anyway, hey guys, welcome to the finale of Let's Play Final Fantasy VII. And, yeah, we took out Sephiroth and he's gone now. Yeah, what about Holy? So it should be free to pop out and Deus Ex Machina save the world, right? Done all we can do. Now, Yuffie's got it right. Let's go take a nap. I think that's probably a good idea. Leave the worries here. Go home proud. Well, yeah. We just beat the whole game. Of course, we took a lot longer than we needed to. As far as, I think my in-game timer's at 61 hours in this game. Doesn't need to be that high at all. I've beaten the game in substantially less time, and there are speed runs, of course, you can take the game out much faster than that. But, if you're just kind of, running through the game, not, doing all the excess grinding that I've done, you can probably do the game in 30 hours easily. It's not usually too hard, as long as you know where to go. I've done a lot of, running around, training limits against weaker enemies, back on disc 1 so that I wouldn't be too far over leveled. And at the end of the game, it turns out that I am over leveled. Oh well. He's laughing. Reminds me of... What does that remind me of? The hyenas from Lion King for some reason. I don't know why. Cloud, where are you going? Cloud? Cloud? What the hell happened to you? Why are your eyes closed? Cloud, wake up! Cloud, wake up! Oh yeah, by the way, the voices that we heard in Cloud's head earlier on in the game, those are, from what I've heard, supposed to be just, the real Cloud inside his head, his memories, trying to bring those memories forth to the surface, to his consciousness. But you could also, sometimes you might interpret those as being, Genova's influence or Sephiroth's influence on him as well. Maybe trying to warp his mind even further after, he's repressed all of the truth for so long. If he's going to look into it now, it'll just be painful and might make him easier to manipulate in the future. You could look at it either way. And he's still alive. I like the little evil grin they give him. And they give him the standard boss music that we would expect. And as you can notice here, my HP values are quite a bit lower than they were before, and my limit gauge is filling up automatically. We get no other options. Even if you don't have Omni Slash at this point, you will be given Omni Slash. And holy crap! Now, that's the second time that's actually happened to me. I was kind of hoping it would, just so I could figure it out. What's supposed to happen here? The battle's over. You're supposed to be able to do Omni Slash even if you don't have it. The very first time I played this game, I did not have Omni Slash because I never went back to the battle arena. And all your materia, that's why my HP was lower, is supposed to be disabled once you get into this fight, as is your item command and anything else. You're just supposed to use Omni Slash. There are videos on YouTube where people, hack, say, the steel materia as your main command, and you steal from him, get nothing, and then he dies. And, as funny as that is, you're supposed to just use your limit. I had my Omni Slash manual this time, but I didn't in my first playthrough, and I just normally attacked him just like that. So, and I did not have a counterattack materia on my character this time. So I don't know why he actually just did a normal attack instead of using Omni Slash. It's really strange. Because if you don't have the Omni Slash manual learned, the first time I played the game, I would have used Meteor Rain or Finishing Touch. But my limit came up and it was Omni Slash, and then I just did a weak normal attack and he died anyway. Doesn't matter what you do as an action. I guess you could technically do nothing and you'd probably end up still winning somehow. I've never done that before, but anyway. Oh yeah, we're almost dying here. I should probably pay attention to that. Oopsies. That's one strong arm you've got there, Cloud. That's going to be quite difficult to hold up, the weight of two people on one arm and just kind of stand around there. Promised Land. And apparently that arm can just pull up, you know, probably 350 pounds maybe. Well, Cloud's probably what, 180? Tifa is probably about 120. So, and there we go. For whatever reason, when they did the video, they decided to increase the size of her breasts to massive proportions so they actually hold her up on the ledge there. I don't know why they do that. I think that's where the whole idea of her having such large boobs comes from. You know, it's all over the internet. This FMV, more than any other FMV, really, I think they increased the size for some reason. But I digress, I guess. Anyway, Cid's having his post-fight smoke as usual. And this is not the only time we get certain characters in FMV form, but you'll notice that that's a pretty cool scene. Yuffie and Vincent are not here because, of course, they're optional characters and they would have had to have made 2 separate videos. And oh shit, that's my ship. Cid? Thank you, Cid, for the artwork. Yeah, those characters are optional and they would have had to make 2 separate videos and store them on disc 3, which contains a lot of videos as you've seen, and there'll be a lot more to come because it's the end of the game. And somehow, even though the plane crashed, we got all back on the ship, and Cid's still swearing up a storm because it's Cid. We have an emergency lever that he hasn't done yet. What's this one do? Yes, the airship has a 3rd form, and that's complete and utter nonsense, but oh well. Still funny. I guess it works. They could have just simply done it in a different way so that the ship did not fall in. We just got back to the ship. Whatever. But they did what they did. And if you're not aware, this is supposed to be calm. And that, as you can tell by that dialogue, is supposed to be Marlene. Yeah, that's why I said way earlier in the game that she's in calm. However, if you go through all the buildings in Calm, I don't think she's actually there. I think she's like on the outskirts. You can see Midgar in the background. The only town within any distance of Midgar is Calm, so she has to be there. And we get red cyclones for some reason. Well, not cyclones, they're tornadoes, I guess. But... ow. If I remember right, cyclones happen in like a drier part of the world, and hurricanes happen in the wetter part, closer to the equator, I think. I can't remember. I gotta go back to school. Somebody tell me to go back to school. Definitely need to go back to school. Anyway. What? Ah, there we go. Holy. It's kind of the same color as Holy-ish. Well, that's blue. The materia itself was green, but yeah, well. There are other things that are green. Hey, nice view. I guess that sequence would have looked a little better if we hadn't gone back and watched Bugenhagen Pass. If we hadn't done that, then I guess that scene would have made a little more sense, but oh well. That looks pretty cool as almost like the tiny, not exactly like the tiny Bronco, but it's basically all it's good for now is a small little ship. I like this theme. It's, you know, like the long ending theme, but it just seems to have a bunch of different themes in it and new themes, and oh, Reeve, you did something useful. And in FMV form, you look at the little kitty and oh, it's a cute kitty. Oh, well, Holy's supposed to be able to match it. How is it having the opposite effect? I think that's like a translation error. I just don't think, I think what they meant to say is that it's not strong enough because having the opposite effect would make no sense. If it was helping Meteor, then it wouldn't even show up, right? And we're all kind of depressed because there's nothing we can do. What is that? Is that a materia? Did I miss one? Well, in a sense, yes. They'll tell you what that is eventually, but I think you can tell. Would have made more sense if it had popped out of mid-deal, but this works too. This works too. Okay, it's popping out of everywhere. That also works. What is that green flowing substance that we've seen multiple times and Cloud fell into? Yes, it's Livestream. So, the way it works here, the planet said, I'm not going to die. The hell with you, I'm not going to die, and it's going to protect itself. Meaning that, I guess, taking out Sephiroth was a useful act, but other than that, the planet's going to do everything it needs to maintain itself on its own, regardless of what we've done. I think the Livestream probably would have had some issue. Like, this is exactly what Sephiroth planned. He planned on the Livestream all gathering here. However, he wanted to fuse with it. So I'm not sure if he has some impact on it showing up, or if it just shows up because there's a potential of a wound, or because there was a wound, or whatever. But it's Livestream, it's here, and it's going to save the planet. Hopefully. I like the epic music though. Epic music is always fun. Silence to edit out cough. Yay! Hey, wait a minute. You're dead. You're not supposed to be here. So, what happened to everybody? Did we win? Credits? What are you talking about? You haven't finished anything yet. Well, yeah, that's pretty much all they give us. Believe it or not, they don't, like, and that's one issue I do have with the story of this game. I like the story of this game. I like that it's complicated. I like that even though it is overly complicated and full of plot holes, which, you know, you win some, you lose some. But even though they're there, the plot does take time to go through and explain almost all of the plot points that will confuse you throughout the game. For the most part, you'll have to play it a second time to see a lot of, you know, what's going on and how to actually view it from, you know, the on retrospect kind of thing. But I don't like the way that they just kind of ended here. I like it when they show what happens to the characters after the fact. And I guess, yes, they did Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, and that had its issues, and yeah, it was alright. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I don't mind it. It's fun enough to enjoy. But yeah, like, I really wish they would have showed what happened to the characters in the game. You know, they don't need to do much, you know. Spend 5-10 minutes. You don't even have to do it in FMV. You can do it, you know, with some stills and like a little bit of text over it. You know, like you would often see in a lot of, you know, Super Nintendo titles. You know, this was the first foray onto the PlayStation. So I guess, you know, even if they had gone back to such an idea, I wouldn't have had much of a problem with it. I would have had a problem if they had tried to do that with, say, like Final Fantasy X or Final Fantasy XII. But those games have other issues that make them good or bad. Okay, what else should I talk about? Talked about the plot. Might as well move on to the characters. The characters. I don't even know where to begin with that. The characters. Well, it kind of started a trend as far as protagonists go. You know, Cloud was, well, a lot more emo in the movie, but he really is kind of a loner character, the anti-hero, and they built him up as a decent anti-hero, and then he kind of changed out of nowhere to being, you know, the group player, you know, wanting to lead the team in the battle against Sephiroth. But, you know, they went from that, and then they did it again, and made it worse in Squall. And I like that's one of the reasons why I liked 9 as much as I did, is because Zidane was a nice draw away from that trend that was starting to develop. Of course, it didn't work very well when they drew away from that trend in Final Fantasy X, but yeah, like, I do like the amount of development we get for some of the characters. However, you know, a lot of the time it's spaced too far apart. You know, Barrett gets story throughout Midgar and Calm and onto Janan and then into the North Corral, and then Barrett gets no more story throughout the rest of the game. You know, Red 13 has a very small amount in Midgar, and then anytime you go back to Cosmo Canyon, he has a little bit of story. Not really all that much. Tifa gets a decent amount. Of course, you know, Vincent, surprisingly enough, because you get him so late, it doesn't seem as though it's spaced so far apart, because you get a chunk of story here at the end of, you know, say disc 1, where you get him, and then disc 2, you get another bit of story, you know, say midway through the disc, and at the end of the disc 4, which isn't too bad. Yuffie gets no story, and there's no reason for her to be in the game to begin with. But she's there, so whatever. She's actually not a bad character in terms of battle, though in terms of personality and all this other stuff, she's not really funny enough to be comic relief, I don't think. Oh well. Who else? Well, you know what I mean. And graphics. Graphics is a mixed bag, because, you know, this is the first foray on the PlayStation. You're expecting it to be better. And it was a hell of a lot better than, say, Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy VI. So, in that respect, they do quite well. However, everybody looks like Popeye. The way, you know, they have the way the pixels ended up in the non-rendered sequences, just, it kind of looked out of place, and it has not aged well at all. So, when it first came out, it would probably get a higher score than, say, now, where it just really did not age very well at all. The battle system. The battle system is something that is kind of interesting, because when I first played this game, I loved the battle system. I loved the customization that you got with, you know, all the different types of materia, and you could have each character, you know, have this type of materia and this interesting materia combination. But over time and over replays, it really became kind of pointless to do that, and just, you might as well just give everybody enemy skill, double cut, slash all, and everyone really becomes a clone of each other. And so that's why over time, I've started to lean a lot more toward games like Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy IX, because they have characters that are specifically designed to be this class or this class, and they excel at, you know, those parts and have weaknesses in the other ones, and you have to build a team around keeping, you know, these characters alive with some other characters' special abilities or something like that. And so, even though, like, I do like the materia system, though it does take a long time to, say, get master materia or stuff like that, it's really over the top. John Williams! Wrong John Williams. At least I think. Well, speaking of John Williams, the music. And no, John Williams did not compose this. This is Nobuo Uematsu. Just like with every other Final Fantasy game up to 10. In 10 he had help. 12 they used, I think, one of the composers from Final Fantasy X, and that was it. I can't remember. Either way, the music for this game is actually... Whoa. No, I knew this was here. I'm just BSing. Yeah, but I love the music for this game because there's just so much variety, you know, from the, you know, Way Out of There tracks, from, say, Wall Market and Wutai, to Yuffie's theme, and, you know, they got, like, the really creepy tracks, like those chosen by the planet. Can you hear the cries of the planet? Chasing the Black-Caped Man, Vincent's track, when you find Vincent there. And yes, even though there was no one left for Red to mate with, apparently they reproduce asexually, and maybe it's mitosis, he just split and created two more. I don't know. But anyway, 500 years later, the only one left alive is Red and his kids, I guess. And if you look at that, Midgar is overrun with plants. The planet is taking back itself, I guess. Guess the Shinra Corporation at this point is long gone, which is pretty cool. But yeah, the music for this game is really, really well done. I find that the motivation behind it, you got the motivating tracks like Sid's theme, and, just there were times when I first played the game, or, even the second or third time, where I would just kind of sit on the world map for, 20 minutes and just listen to the world map theme. That's one of my favorite tracks for the game. It's just so calm and relaxed, and just has that little twinge of emotional, I don't know, something. It's got that unspeakable thing to it. And so I really do like the music for this game. Overall, it's my favorite game in the series, but I'll straight out admit that it has some problems that, it just can't solve. It's got translation bugs, and, there's glitches like the W item glitch, which, take it how you will. A lot of the time you don't need all those extra ones, but usually as soon as I get that, I go and duplicate myself about 20 Mega Elixirs, 20 Elixirs, and 20 Hero Drinks, and then I don't even have to think about needing more of them throughout most of the game. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about this game. It's a lot of fun to, to go through and to play for the first time. I definitely enjoyed playing it the first time around. I've enjoyed playing it at different points in time, There's sometimes I'll listen to one track on the computer, and all of a sudden I'm going to go play that game just because one of the songs draws me back in. And, it's got a fun story and interesting characters. Like I said, it's got its issues, and so from, a technical standpoint, Final Fantasy IX is probably a better game. But, this is my opinion. My opinion is Final Fantasy VII is my favorite in the series, though Final Fantasy IX is definitely catching up quite quickly. Anyway, that's all for this Let's Play. I'm going to take a couple of days off after this, and we'll see what I go on to next. Got two ideas in mind. One I've prepared for, so it's probably going to be that one. Either that, or I'll make something up. Anyway, I hope you guys had fun. I did, and I will see you guys next time.